What truly defines a person? I mean, is it where they come from, their family, their background, or maybe something else entirely?
That's a huge question, right? One people have wrestled with forever.
Absolutely. And today we're taking a deep dive into an ancient philosophical debate that tackled exactly this. We're looking at the Vāseṭṭhadutta, which is a discourse from a really foundational Buddhist text.
A fascinating text. It captures a conversation that really challenged the social norms of its time thousands of years ago.
It really did, but the insights, they still feel surprisingly relevant. So our mission today is to unpack this pivotal exchange. We want to explore how an ancient figure just dismantled this whole concept of inherited status.
And redefined human worth. Redefined it through action and character, essentially.
Okay, let's unpack this.
That starting point is crucial because you have to remember the social fabric back then was just so deeply woven with inherited status. To even question it was, well, pretty revolutionary.
Totally. So let's set the scene. We're in a place called Ichanakala. It's described as a serene forest grove, and it's where the Blessed One, the Buddha, was residing at the time. And this area, it wasn't just some quiet spot. It was actually home to many of the most prominent Brahmin files of the day. You know, people like Kaki, Taruko, Pokarasati.
Big names, Jasoni, Tadeya Brahmin. These were the heavyweights.
Exactly. This was like a hub for the established social and religious order, lineage, birthright that dictated so much of life there.
Precisely. These figures were, you could say, the cultural pillars. Their identity, their authority, it rested squarely on their ancestry. It really sets the stage for a dramatic intellectual clash.
And right into this very established setting walk two young students, Vāseṭṭha and Bhāradvāja.
Just two young men.
Yeah, they're out for a walk, just, chatting, and suddenly this profound disagreement flares up between them.
Over a seemingly simple question.
Right. The question they stumble upon is, how, sirs, does one become a Brahmin? Sounds almost, academic.
But it wasn't. Not then. It was packed with social, even existential weight.
And their answers really show that tension in their society, don't they?
They absolutely do. One basically upholds the status quo, the tradition.
That's Bhāradvāja. He takes the traditional view, the one that was deeply entrenched. For him, a Brahmin is defined purely by birth. Period.
Right. He says you have to be well-born on both mother's and father's side, with pure lineage up to 7 generations, and absolutely without any blemish regarding birth.
It's all pedigree, all ancestry. An unblemished bloodline was, well, everything.
That's the classical view. It's a closed system, really. Your destiny, your status, it's sealed at birth. It's all in the genes, so to speak.
But then Vāseṭṭha, his friend, he just completely disagrees. He counters this entirely.
Yeah, Vāseṭṭha's argument is different.
For him, a Brahmin is determined by their character, their salava.
Which isn't just about being polite, right? It's deeper.
Exactly. It's like a profound ethical conduct.
Yeah.
And also by their practice or observances, their vatasapano.
Meaning their consistent spiritual discipline, what they actually do.
Right. It's about what you do and how you live, not who your parents happen to be.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Vāseṭṭha is basically arguing for an open system. Your identity comes from your ethics, your actions.
Not inherited privilege.
Exactly. A meritocracy of virtue, you could almost call it.
So you can imagine neither one could convince the other. They're stuck.
But locked.
So Vāseṭṭha comes up with an idea. He says, let's go consult Gotama, the Buddha. He was renowned as the Buddha and Blessed One.
The ultimate authority.
Right. So they approach him. But first they kind of establish their credentials. They say, look, we're both 3 Veda experts. We know recitation, grammar. We studied under big names like Pokarasati and Taruka.
They're essentially saying, we're not messing around here. We're serious scholars. We've done the reading.
Yeah. And then they ask him straight up, is one a Brahmin by birth or by deed, by karma? And they call him the eye in the world, asking for clarity.
It's quite insightful, their approach. They present themselves as learned, but seeking the definitive word from the one person they believe truly knows. They want the final answer.
And Gotama's response.
Yeah.
It's not just a simple yes or no, is it?
No, not at all. He starts by sort of dissecting the whole idea of classification itself. He talks about the natural world first.
Right. He says, in nature, species are distinct. You can tell them apart by their birthmarks. He calls it Jati Vipaga, the classification of beings.
He's building from common ground, something everyone observes. Look at nature. Things are pretty clearly defined by their physical forms from birth, right?
Totally. He gives all these examples. Different kinds of grasses and trees, you know instantly what they are. Worms, moths, ants, their bodies tell you their species.
Same with four-legged animals, big or small.
Or snakes, fish, birds.
Hmm.
Each group has unique, inherent physical markers. It's all about those obvious physical birthmarks.
But then comes the twist. Gotama points out this critical difference. But among humans, he says, there is no such diverse mark by birth.
And that is the core of his argument, isn't it? He takes that shared observation about nature and just flips it when it comes to humans.
It's quite striking. He specifically lists features that don't divide humans into different inherent kinds by birth.
Yeah, things like hair, head shape, ears, eyes, mouth, nose.
Lips, brows, neck, shoulders, belly, back.
Hips, chest, private parts, hands, feet, fingers, nails, thighs. Even skin color or the sound of your voice. None of these, he argues, are birthmarks that fundamentally categorize humans into different species or ranks.
There's just no inherent physical basis for classifying humans as fundamentally superior or inferior, one group to another, based on birth.
So his conclusion is that these differences we make between humans, these categories, they're just designations. Samanyaya pavakati. They're based on convention, on how we decide to label people.
Not on anything inherent or natural about birth itself. And that just completely undermines the whole idea of a birth-based hierarchy, whether it's caste, class, whatever.
Okay, so if it's not birth, then what is it? How are people defined?
Right, and this is where Gotama shifts. He starts defining people by their actions, their occupations, and he explicitly says these don't make you a Brahmin.
He gives clear examples, right? He says someone who lives by cattle herding is, well, they're a farmer, a kasako. Not a Brahmin.
He's systematically taking apart the idea that your role or status is fixed by birth.
Yeah.
Instead, he grounds it completely in what you do, your job, your daily actions.
He keeps going. Someone living by crafts. That's a craftsman. A sipiko. Not a Brahmin.
Trade. You're a merchant, Bojo. Still not a Brahmin.
Serving others makes you a servant.
Yeah.
Pesiko. Not a Brahmin.
Yeah.
Taking what's not given. Well, that makes you a thief, Koto. Still not a Brahmin.
Even living by archery makes you a warrior, Yojvo.
Or if you live as a priest, performing sacrifices.
Oh.
You're a sacrificer, you Jekko? Guess what? Not a Brahmin.
And even governing a village or a country that makes you a king, Raja, but still not a Brahmin.
Each role is defined purely by action, by the deed, not by some inherited label.
And this is where he delivers that really powerful challenge to the birth-based definition. He says, and this is quite direct, I do not call one a Brahmin merely by birth or maternal origin.
Wow.
He adds, someone who uses the term hovadi, which was a respectful term often used by or for the wealthy and influential, might be wealthy. But, he says, one who is without possessions and grasping, that one I call a Brahmin.
He's completely flipping the definition, saying true worth comes from inner qualities, detachment, not wealth or birth.
Exactly. And then he launches into this incredible, detailed description of what truly defines a Brahmin. It's a long list, but the essence is, well, it's someone who's achieved profound inner freedom and acts with incredible compassion and wisdom.
Like he says, it's someone who has cut all fetters, who is fearless, totally beyond attachments.
That's inner freedom right there.
And someone who can patiently endure abuse, being hit, even imprisonment, without any ill will, whose real strength is forbearance.
That tells you immediately it's about an inner state, a way of being, not a social tag. It's about mastering your inner world, meeting hardship with calm.
He also stresses non-harming, purity. A true Brahmin, he says, doesn't kill, doesn't cause others to kill. They've laid down the stick towards all beings, whether they're weak or strong.
A universal ethic of compassion applied to all life. That's a hallmark of deep wisdom.
And someone whose passion, hatred, pride, contempt, all that stuff has just fallen away. Can you imagine that level of inner purity?
It's about the total absence of those inner defilements, those things that cause suffering for ourselves and others.
He uses vivid imagery, too, like someone who clings to sensual pleasures no more than water clings to a lotus leaf.
Or a mustard seed to the point of a needle.
Right. That really gets across the idea of non-attachment. And crucially, he says it's someone deeply wise, intelligent, who knows the right and wrong paths, and who has reached the highest goal.
This points towards ultimate liberation, freedom from the cycle of suffering itself. It's such a radical shift from any external label. It's all about profound spiritual attainment and unwavering ethical integrity.
So connecting this all together, Gotama's definition isn't just about being a good person. It's way beyond that. It's about enlightenment, liberation.
Which leads him to that ultimate revolutionary statement.
Yeah. Not by birth is one a Brahmin, nor by a birth is one a non-Brahmin. By deed, is one a Brahmin. By deed is one a non-Brahmin.
That's the core. That's the principle that changes everything. It's a complete reversal of the traditional view.
And he circles back to those examples, reinforcing it. A farmer is a farmer by deed, a craftsman by deed, a merchant by deed.
Even a king is a king by deed. It all comes down to action.
And the implications are just huge. He says, the world revolves by action. Humanity revolves by action. Beings are bound by action like the chariot's axle pin.
It implies that karma, intentional action, is this universal law shaping our existence, our present, our future. It's not predetermined by birth.
It really puts destiny back in your own hands, doesn't it? It's about personal choice, effort, not some fixed inheritance.
Absolutely. And the path Gotama lays out for becoming that highest Brahmin is through practice, austerity, living a holy life, self-restraint, discipline.
Right. He says someone perfected in the three knowledges, who is peaceful, whose cycle of rebirth is finished, that person is truly a Brahma or Saka, a being of the highest order.
It's a complete transformation, shifting the focus from external status, from birth, entirely to internal development and liberation.
So what did all this mean back then? I mean, for Vāseṭṭha and Bhāradvāja, the impact was immediate, wasn't it?
It was profound. The text says they were so moved by Gotama's words, they immediately took refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, his teaching, and the Sangha, the community.
They became lay followers right on the spot. This whole dialogue just completely redefined worth identity, shifting lock, stock, and barrel from inherited status to personal action, ethical conduct.
It was a direct, powerful challenge to the very foundation of the caste system. It argued for a meritocracy based on character, not birth. And, its message still resonates powerfully today.
Which brings us back to you, the listener. Think about this. In our own world today, how do we unconsciously define success or value or even just someone's identity?
Good question.
Are we, maybe sometimes, subtly relying on our own kinds of birthmarks? Things like social class, family name, where someone comes from, maybe just conventional labels. Instead of really looking at a person's actions, their character, what they actually contribute.
It's easy to fall into those patterns, isn't it? Using shortcuts based on external markers.
It is. So what might change? What would be different if we truly tried to live by that principle? By deed is one a truly noble person. By deed is one a non-noble person. Something to think about.